It says scientists see.
मेरे ख्याल से वो भी उसी तरह वाला
Yeah, Sriharikota.
श्रीहरिकोटा रेलवे उसका मेरे ख्याल सिविल
And now
सर्विस
Indian Railways.
May I come in, sir?
Please come.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sirs.
Take a seat. You're Sanket Kumar?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, for the benefit of the panel, could you just give a brief introduction, please?
Sir, I am Sanket Kumar. I am from Darbhanga, Bihar. I have done my schooling from Darbhanga itself. After that, I have graduated from National Institute of Technology, Patna, in mechanical stream. Later, I worked in ISRO for 1 year. After that, I was working in Indian Railways. Currently, I am in Indian Police Service, sir. And my hobbies are traveling, solo bike riding, swimming. I also play badminton and table tennis, sir.
Very good. So, when you gave the interview last year, how much did you get?
So I got 190 marks.
Oh, you're a mirror image of the last candidate. So, Sanket, tell me something about a bullet train. Why is it called a bullet train to start with? Is it because it's as fast as a bullet?
Sir, it's a shape of the first coach that is in the shape of the bullet. That's why it is called as a bullet train.
Would you say first coach or would you say the engine?
Sir, because there are a set of rakes that are coupled together, and in the entire arrangement, there are many wheels that are powered by the traction motor. So instead of calling engine, it could be called as a self-propelled coach, sir.
So, can you give us some inputs about this bullet train in India? Why is this project being taken up? Do you think it's worthwhile?
Sir, currently in India, in the phase one, the first high-speed train that is being built is from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. In this project, the 80% of financing has come from the Japanese agency, and I believe, sir, it is very much worthwhile because there are many benefits that are accrued to this project, as it will lead to the decongestion of the core business area from Mumbai and Ahmedabad. Apart from that, it will lead to the employment generation, and at the same time, if we see, the funding has been provided, almost 80% funding has been provided by the Japanese agency for this project. So there is no such fiscal burden over the government of India as well. And that's why, sir, I believe it's a very worthwhile, and it will also lead to the technological advancement of India in the railway segment.
Just let me interrupt you at this point. There will be no fiscal burden on India in the sense is it being fully funded by them, or it's a loan which has to be returned at some point of time with a lower rate of interest?
Yes, sir. It's the loan that has been extended, but the interest rate is very less, and at the same time, the period of repayment is very high, sir.
Okay. So, no fiscal burden is not the correct.
Yes,
phrase,
sir.
huh?
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Tell me something about prohibition in Bihar. I have not come across any country which has succeeded in prohibition. So, do you think it's time to scrap this?
Sir, I believe that though certain benefits have come up with the imposition of a prohibition in the Bihar, but mostly the negative impacts are there which are accruing to this policy. The most of the negative impacts are the black market sale of the liquor has increased. At the same time, the revenue of the government has reduced. If we see, the huge tragedy has been increased. The enforcement of this prohibition has turned out to be the additional burden on the already short-staffed police force. So this is turning to be a difficult. So I believe instead of this blanket ban, taxes can be increased over the sale of the liquor, or more regulation and strict surveillance can be provided, sir.
Right. And you were involved in a robotics event, right?
Yes, sir.
Where does this word robot come from?
Robot simply stands for any device which is capable of.
I asked you where it comes from, the word robot. Are you aware?
Sir, origin I am not aware of.
So, okay, fair enough. Tell me something about drones. Are they robots?
Sir, there are certain drones which are remotely controlled, but also there are drones which have a system of driving on its own. So those drones can be called as a robot, sir.
So drones, can you give me some positive and some negative uses? My last question.
Sir, the drones have vast positive benefits. Sir, if we look in the agricultural segment, then drones can be used for spray of fertilizers, and also they can use for doing the proper soil analysis. Apart from that, if we look in the disaster management, then they can be very helpful in extending any emergency services to the needy ones.
And
But
the negative?
Sir, if we look in the negative segment, then recently drone has been used in many terror activities. Especially the drone swarm events becomes very difficult for law enforcement agencies to control. So this is turning out to be a big challenge, sir.
What about the war front?
Sorry, sir.
The war front, Ukraine-Russian war.
Yes, sir. Sir, recently the war is going on, and in the coming time, I believe it's going to intensify even further.
No, I'm talking about drones in that context. Use of drones in the war. Are you familiar? Use of
Sir,
drones?
I'm familiar about certain incidents where drone have been used to do the attacks over in the Ukrainian territory, but I'm not aware in much detail, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Sanket, have you joined the police or you're on a leave?
Sir, I joined and then took the leave, sir.
Have the cadres been allowed to?
Yes, sir.
Which cadre you have been assigned to?
Sir, Bihar Gata, sir.
Bihar cadre. Oh, you're from Bihar, your home state.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, in Bihar, a lot of things have been done for the upliftment of women. Can you tell me some things, some schemes?
Sir, if we look in the political segment, for political empowerment, Bihar is the first state to reserve 50% of seats in a panchayat election for women. At the same time, if we look at the social empowerment of women, then there are many schemes that government is running, that is Janani Suraksha Yojana, Janani Bal Suraksha Yojana. At the same time, the Jivika scheme, Jivika SHG program that is running in the Bihar is very much successful. Apart from that, the imposition of the prohibition was also from that extent that domestic violence cases will get reduced, and there are evidences that it has been reduced in this regard also, sir. If we look in the economic segment, then for empowerment of women, government has come up with the scheme of Mukhyamantri Udyami Yojana, where women entrepreneurs are supported and given extra incentives, sir.
Okay, fine. So you're aware of the situation. Now tell me, a very drastic action was taken by Assam government with the help of Assam police in case of child marriages. Do you think that the action, the way it was taken, was justified, okay?
Sir, the action was taken, I believe it was taken in a very rightful spirit, sir, and the safeguards were also there. But at the implementation level, certain issues came up since there was various safeguards that the family that will be impacted, those families will be properly rehabilitated. And I believe, sir, since various social parameters like maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate were very high, so such crackdown was very much essential to at least create a deterrence among the people to refrain from such activities, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, the Chief Justice of India, in a conference of Chief Justices of various other countries during the SCO summit, he said that the justice is not only a sovereign function, it is an essential service. It is not only a sovereign function, it is an essential service. What did he mean by that?
Sir, because from this line, what he meant, sir, because though government is there to implement various schemes, but more often it has been seen that the services are not implemented in the way they are intended for, and even many important beneficiaries are left out. So in order to extend those benefits and in order to provide the welfare, the role of judiciary becomes important. And through various mechanisms like PIL, judicial review, they extend this concept of welfare to even the marginalized and the remote people, sir.
Okay. He also talked about smart courts and future of the judiciary. Can you highlight some of the salient features of that, if you are aware?
Sir, I have not exactly gone in detail, but I can make a guess, sir.
If you have not gone into detail, let's not guess about it. Okay, forget about that. Now, this incident of Punjab, Waris Punjab Day, Amritpal, and subsequent actions in other parts of the world. How do you foresee this as a police officer? How seriously you will take this particular incidents of uh, Amritsar?
Sir, as a police officer, sir, I believe any such call where there comes the separatist demand and which becomes very detrimental from the national security perspective needs to be immediately tackled for. And in this regard, the recent police action to nab the Amritpal Singh, I believe it's very much justified. And in this regard, they have seized arms, weapons, and many associates of the Amritpal Singh, and I believe they will nab him soon as well.
Nee, what do you say about the reactions in various other countries like in UK, San Francisco, Canada, Australia?
Sir, I believe these incidents are not good from the Indian perspective, and certainly they are also responsible for igniting these demands inside the Indian forces. So India need to work on more outreach program among its diaspora, especially in these regions, UK, Canada, and should connect with them and make them realize about the ground conditions that are in Punjab have improved substantially over these years, and should make policies which focus more on developing the nationalist spirit, sir.
My last question to you: what protection a civil servant has in Constitution? Certain protections have been provided to the civil servant. Are you aware of any?
Under Article 3 and 312, certain protections are there, but exactly I'm not aware, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sanket, you
Sir.
come from Darbhanga,
Sir,
and I want to hear from you what are the causes and what are the remedies of the underdeveloped status of Mithila region after so many years of independence. In your opinion, what is the reason and what is the remedy?
sir, if we talk of the reasons that are responsible for underdevelopment, first of all, sir, recurring flood. This region is very much affected with the flood. Then, apart from that, a very high population density is there. Agriculture is not performing well because of fragmented land holdings and poor marketing options. Apart from that, sir, politics in that region has also been not conducive for that reason because of the influence of caste and the criminalization of the politics. So collectively, these reasons has led to the backward. But if we talk of the remedies, I believe we need to focus on few factors. That is, first of all, the health and education in that region. For this, more district hospitals needs to be opened, and the education reforms are very much essential. That at a school level, so teacher accountability needs to be brought in. Apart from that, infrastructure needs to be revamped. Parallelly, agricultural reforms are also very much needed. So FPOs can be promoted in that region. Apart from that, every district in that region has certain product potential. So those products can be leveraged under one district, one product, and FPIs can be promoted.
You are giving me too many remedies. Why aren't they being implemented?
Sir, in recent times, government has taken many steps and situation has improved. Sir, like connectivity has improved in the region. Airport has come up. Certainly, few FPIs has also been set up in the Madhubani district, sir. So situation is improving, but a lot needs to be done, sir.
You have heard about G20 presidency of India. What is the meeting that is being held in Patna under G20?
And that's what, sir, I'm not aware of, sir.
When did the G20 initiative begin in the world?
Sir, it began in 1999, sir. The purpose was to ensure the international financial stability. So,
Okay. And when was the first summit held at the Prime Minister or head of state level?
sir, I'm not sure, but it's around 2008 or 9.
Nice. Okay. when we talk of international relations, what would you like to comment on India's present status in the world?
Sir, in recent times, I believe India's stature in the world has improved substantially. Previously, different countries used to see the India from the prism of either US or China. But now I believe that across the world, India is seen from an independent perspective, especially because of its stance over the Russia-Ukraine war. Apart from that, the Indian diaspora across the world are doing a very good work in building a brand image. Recently, Indian government has come up with many free trade agreements. So I believe that will also lead to substantial trade benefits and trade empowerment. And with the growing push towards Indo-Pacific, the importance of India in the global politics become very important, sir.
Recently, there was a speech by Deepak Bagla, the chief of CEO of Invest India. He gave a lot of statistics of the startup culture in India. Did you hear that? What do you know about the startup companies in India?
Actually, I'm not aware about what he said, but about regarding the startup culture in India, I would say, sir, first of all, India has become the third largest startup ecosystem globally. And if we look in just 2021, 43 startups turn out to be the unicorn startups. Overall, this number has increased up to the 83 startups, sir. So I believe India is performing well, but at the same time, there are many issues that is inhibiting to achieve the full potential. And the issues can be seen as, first of all, funding shortages are there. Especially, there are certain restrictions over foreign funding that is also turning out to be detrimental. Then the competitiveness of the products that these startups are coming up is very difficult because of the giant MNCs. So if government works on these directions, then certainly better results.
You know about non-aligned movement, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it still relevant?
Sir, first of all, non-aligned movement was about the coalition of the third world countries that did not wanted to take the either side during the Cold War. And I believe, sir, it is still relevant because whoever be the leader of the non-alignment have a voice of the entire third world nation. And that becomes very important in raising any issue in the UN. Uh, Apart from that, over the environment issue, this coalition becomes important because they are the one who are going to suffer the most of this environment issue. And but in recent years, if we talk of the India's stance in non-aligned movement, India is a little bit shying away, is moving away from this coalition, and that is very much evident that now India is forging its relation with the P5 nation. But there have been certain incidents in recent time which shows that India is again trying to take the support of global South and trying to bring its relevancy back. As in the G20 meeting, India is raising this issue in the G20 meeting as well, sir.
What are the targets of India under its Amrit Kal?
Sir, under Amrit Kal, the first target that India has set up is to become the developed nation by 2047.
What is the definition of a developed nation?
Sir, there are no such standard definition that is available for developed nation. According to the WTO, any country can self-declare themselves as a developing or developed nation, sir.
I think there is a yardstick of per capita GDP.
Sir,
I think you should look at that.
okay, sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sanket, let's continue a bit on the foreign affairs, this thing. What do you know about US-India ties? And currently, what is the status? A little bit.
Ma'am, over the years, the India-USA ties have intensified a lot. If we look at that there is a huge convergence between both the nation over the issue of Indo-Pacific. In a defense segment, India has signed many pacts with USA. There are many defense exercises as well. Certainly, there are certain issues as well, like India's stance in the in the Ukraine-Russia war, and India's proximity with Russia. At the same time, there are certain WTO disputes as well between India and USA. But in the recent times, I believe the relation is being intensified a lot because of the increasing importance of the Indo-Pacific.
Why? Why is Indo-Pacific more important now?
Ma'am, Indo-Pacific is becoming more important because of following reasons, ma'am. First of all the developing nation where the consumption demand and the economic development in coming years is going to happen is situated in this region only. Then around 60 to 70% of the global trade and the important sea lanes of communication falls on this region. Then the Chinese assertive rise is happening, which is turning out to be a cause of concern for the India and the USA.
What is China doing in the Indo-Pacific?
Ma'am, the South China issue where
South China Sea.
South China Sea issue where they are expanding their economic exclusive zones that falls in the territory of their neighboring countries like Philippines and Indonesia. So this is the issue. Apart from that, their military naval base are coming at different positions in the Indian Ocean. So that is turning out to be a cause of concern, ma'am.
And what is the intent of this cooperation between India and US and other like-minded groups? For example, in AUKUS or in Quad, what is the intention, or what is the why have these been set up?
Intention is to first of all secure the free and open Indo-Pacific, have the freedom of navigation in the region. Apart from them, secure the trade lines across the sea route, and also to take the steps such that the Chinese aggression in the region can be well contained. So that are the recent.
Will they be successful, you think?
Certainly, they are doing good with incoming of AUKUS. Better submarines will be there, so that will also complement India's naval capacity. So it will be helpful in containing the influence of China. And at the same time, with the growing presence of India and Russia in the Southeast Asian nation, so the economic influence that.
Sorry, please repeat. India and Russia. US.
India and USA influence in the Southeast Asian and the East Asia. So that will help in containing the debt trap diplomacy that China is pursuing in the regions.
What is debt trap diplomacy?
Debt trap diplomacy, China extend the loan to other countries where these loans become unviable for that country to repay back.
Why? Why does it become unviable?
Probably, ma'am, because initially the loans are taken with the anticipation that the projects in which they will be invested will bring returns. But with the failure, but most of time it has been seen that those projects turn out to be failure. So it becomes difficult for that country to repay back, like the case of Sri Lanka, ma'am.
And so they take over their assets. China takes over their assets. So it claims territory, so to speak, in other countries. So this debt trap, they've done in Goda, they've done in Colombo and other countries as well. And so it is something that the US and India need to work together. Yes. But despite that, we didn't have last question, an ambassador in India. A US ambassador in India was not there. So why do you think that delay took place, or do you know why the delay took place, and now who has been approved? And will it make a difference? New ambassador. There was no ambassador, US ambassador in India for 2 years, despite President Joe Biden nominating a person long time back, 2 years ago. So do you know the reason why it he didn't come here, and will it make a difference now that his name has been approved?
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was not aware about that development, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Sanket, so you are talking about debt trap diplomacy. So if I make a statement that banks are pushing or isolating individuals into debt trap, do you agree with this statement?
Sir, banks, before extending the loan, do the proper evaluation, because if the individual will not be able to pay back, then it will turn out to be the NPA for the bank. So it is even a burden over the bank itself. So they will never pursue in that domain, sir.
Okay. So, how many months you have worked with ISRO?
1 year.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you track the recent developments?
Yes, sir.
So, ISRO has launched a second or planning to launch a satellite launching station. New. What is the reason for it?
Sir, the second launching station that ISRO is planning is in Kulasekara Pattinam in Tamil Nadu. And the purpose behind that launching station is to dedicate that station for this small satellite launch vehicles. As these satellite launch vehicles as the frequency of these SSLV launch vehicles will be very fast. So that station is solely developed from that perspective that quick launches will be made possible from that launch station, sir.
Can you be more clear on that?
Sir, actually in SSLV, the small satellite launch vehicles can be launched within a 1 week of demand placing. So in that regard, the facilities that are required for assembling of the satellites are different from what is available in SDS in Sriharikota. So a separate facility is being developed, and apart from that, the private sector launches can also be made possible from this new launching station that is coming up, sir.
Okay, there is more to do with it. Please go through that. Okay. So, why are you more specific towards IAS service?
Sir, it's more of a pull factor, and the reason behind that is, sir, the diversity of the job in the IAS is, I believe, is higher than my previous services. As in IAS, I can get a chance to work from different departments. It could be education, it could be health, or in the industrial department. So exposure increases, and at the same time, that the opportunities to do the work which can bring visible change in the life of poor people is also higher, sir.
Okay. So, with respect to mechanical engineering, so there is a lot of talk about, or say, higher probability about fully automated vehicles, fully automatic drive vehicles. So, can you name some important components of it?
Uh, 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 and specifically, says it's the sensors that are used to gauge who is around the vehicle, and apart from that, a central processing unit is required, which can process any hurdles nearby, and accordingly will give command to the vehicle control. So accordingly, it will
What
drive.
kind of sensors?
So that I'm not aware of, sir.
So, and one more thing, just like we individuals using phone generate lot of data. So the fully automated vehicles are also going to develop or say generate huge amounts of data. So how is what implication does it have on policymakers? Whether it is say the sensors or radar or lidar or the camera that is going to generate. So each automobile is going to generate huge amounts of data. So what implications does it have on policymakers?
So, first implication that I can think of is processing that much of a data and then preparing a proper policy accordingly will be very difficult, because the data will be collected in a real time, and processing them is a real challenge, sir. So this is the implication that I can think of, sir.
Okay, with respect to privacy issues or other things?
So certainly privacy issues will be there. So that will be the another task, but that can be solved through proper discussion with the stakeholders.
Okay. So one question with respect to democracy. So there was one famous statement of Winston Churchill. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with an average voter.
Yes, sir.
So what is the political reality or the electoral reality that it is highlighting?
Sir, it's about the voting that has been done. So while voting to any political party, the voter has the choice to make that whatever party that they believe will be the right one for them and will be the one who can take the best decisions on the behalf for the next 5 years. So that's what he might be.
So is that statement highlighting that the voter's choice is a very good choice, or is it a very reckless decision?
Sir, I'm not sure about that, but he must be referring about that this is the decision which the voter should make very carefully, because this decision is going to impact them for next 5 years.
Okay. So, and one last question.
So,
So you are in training, right?
sir, I'm on leave. I've
Leave.
taken the leave, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sanket,
Sir.
that brings us to the end of the formal interview. We'll now go on to the feedback and some practical tips for ramping up your preparations. Firstly, what is your self-assessment? How did you do?
Sir, I believe on the question of ISRO, I should have been more thorough, and even in the questions of international relations, I think I should read more in detail, sir.
You need to be, since you've already been through the whole process, you already know what it's all about. Just bear in mind that this is not a test of knowledge, it's a test of your personality, and you come across as a very promising candidate, and we hope that this time you'll be able to take the jump to the service you are aspiring to. Now, all I would say is, at this point of time, when is your
Sir, it's on 28th March.
28th March?
Yes, sir.
How
5 days.
4 days. Okay. Just brush up on your current events.
Sure, sir.
Because current events, I found that that was one area where you were lagging a little bit, possibly because of what? You'll be able to tell me why you are lagging on current events?
Because currently I'm focusing more on revising the things, so it becomes difficult.
Okay. I would suggest get 1 hour, reserve 1 hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening.
Sir.
Oh, the 1 hour in the morning is for newspapers and that half hour in the evening is for TV. Now, which newspapers are you reading?
Sir, Hindu and Indian Express.
Okay, if you could remove one of these and add an economic newspaper instead, so as to get.
Financial Express also I'm reading, but not daily, but alternative day I'm reading, sir.
Okay, that's good. And are you watching any TV channels, news channels, etc.?
Yes, sir. The English news channels which are available on YouTube, sir.
I would suggest specifically that WION is very good for preparation because it gives you a window to the world every half an hour.
Yes, sir.
So, are you aware? WION.
Yes,
World
sir.
is One News.
Yes, sir.
And Sunset TV. Add
Okay,
that to the mix.
Sir.
And I hope you'll go there clean shaven.
Sure, sir.
Morning or evening, when is it?
The evening.
Evening is the graveyard shift, so you'll have to get a little more energy.
Sir.
Little more voice modulation.
Sure, sir.
So that the panelists don't go off to sleep.
Sir.
After a heavy lunch, that's always the temptation. But otherwise, you are, I think, absolutely ready to face the interview board. Settle your hair also. Should be neatly done.
Sure, sir.
Go there with an absolutely clear, calm, composed mind, clarity of thought,
sir,
and with a positive attitude. That I have what it takes to ace this interview. I have done it before. This time I'll do it even better. Best of luck.
Best of luck.
Best of luck. Just
Thank you, ma'am.
do it.
Thank you, sir.